Come with me today as we explore Amber Cove.
Amber Cove is one of 2 cruise ports located in Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. The other is Taino Bay. Amber Cove is primarily served by Carnival Cruise Lines, and it's named in honor of the amber that's found on its shores. Now, what I love about this port is that it has a pier. It's not a tender port, and it's a short pier, but there's so much to do and see right here at port without the need to invest in an excursion. It's also a smaller port, which can only accommodate 2 ships at a time, so every time I've visited, which has been several times, it's never been overly crowded. Now, if you're looking for things to do at the Amber Cove Cruise Port, you're in luck because there are a ton of great options. Now, of course, there are the standard cruise ship shops, bars, duty-free stores, and restaurants. Oh, and by the way, the legal drinking age in the Dominican Republic is 18, but Carnival has a really impressive area for cruisers to use at no cost. Later, I'll show you exactly what that looks like, but here's a map to give you an overview. They have an aqua zone with a zip line over water cabanas. Those do cost money, but there are things that are free, including their pool and their splash zone for children. At the pool area, cruisers can enjoy complimentary lounge chairs, hammocks, pool access, of course, and there are lots of free activities. While it is a short pier, cruisers with mobility issues can take advantage of these little pedicabs. They cost nothing, but tips are expected. Here at the end of the pier, you can see some of those overwater cabanas that are available for rent, but they're pretty darn expensive. Now, of course, cruisers have to enter and walk through the duty-free store before they enter the terminal area, and in the duty-free store, there's a standard array of souvenirs and local treats and treasures. I personally tried some of the famous Dominican candy, which was kind of like fudge, and it was, let's just say, interesting. Once in the port area, there are zones that are clearly marked, so if you're embarking on an excursion, you'll be expected to meet up at one of the numbered zones. There are staff available to help direct you if you do get lost. And I find this port to be easy to navigate with lots of signage, making it clear where you need to go. Here's an example of a meeting zone. The port is nice and clean and modern, but I personally don't like it as much as I do the other cruise port in Puerto Plata, which is Taino Bay. Why? Because I think that the pool area at Taino Bay is a little bit better, including their lazy river, and you can walk to some great Puerto Plata sites from Taino Bay. Unfortunately, from Amber Cove, you can't get anywhere outside of port on foot. They do have a rental car station here, although I do not recommend. Driving the Dominican Republic can be very harrowing. And there's a souvenir passport stamp location here, but I always avoid those as souvenir stamps can invalidate your passport. In this next section, I'll tell you about some things that you can do in Puerto Plata outside of port, and then I'll conclude by showing you the aqua zone. So if you want to see that, just go ahead and skip ahead. If you choose to hire a driver or take a taxi, you'll probably want them to deposit you into the downtown area of Puerto Plata. A fun thing to do there that costs nothing is the Amber Museum. Now, there are a couple of these, and they're free because, of course, the proprietor hopes that you will spend money buying the amber jewelry and other souvenirs. But it's definitely worthwhile for a quick stop. You get a little lesson about Amber Cove, why it got its name, and how amber is mined. And of course, you can enjoy the amber jewelry. I like on this visit that I never felt any pressure to buy anything, and I didn't. I just enjoyed learning about amber, and I went on my way. An iconic stop that's nearby is Umbrella Street. This is a great Insta-worthy location, perfect for photo ops and strolling around all the different shops and restaurants located in this little alley. It is a top spot in Puerto Plata, though, so expect it to be crowded. Another crowded location that's very famous is Paseo de Doña Blanca, or the Pink Alley. Again, a great quick visit and photo op, and located nearby is the center square of the town, where you'll find an area rich in culture, history, and beautiful architecture, as well as a cathedral that you can enter at no cost. A little further out is the Fortaleza San Felipe. Today, the fort is a museum where visitors can see original cannons facing the Atlantic, ancient weapons, and a variety of hidden chambers. And look, right there is a Royal Caribbean ship docked at nearby Taino Bay. It's free to explore the exterior and the grounds, which is great, and if you want to get inside, you can pay a nominal admission fee. Now, when it comes to getting around Puerto Plata, I personally hire a private driver because it's much more economical than taxis, which I find to be outrageous in cost. So if you're porting at Amber Cove and plan to explore outside of port, consider your transportation options before you leave on your cruise, because you'll probably want to arrange a driver or book an excursion that includes transportation in advance. Since I had a private driver, I was also able to visit one of Puerto Plata's beaches. On this visit, I explored Playa del Pueblito. On my prior visit, I checked out Cosita Rica, which is walkable from Taino Bay. Now, I always want to be honest in my reviews, and I will tell you, having experienced 2 Puerto Plata beaches, Cruiser friends, Puerto Plata is not the spot for the idyllic beach day. It's just not. In both cases, I found there to be quite a bit of pollution, unfortunately, which does seem to be a problem in Puerto Plata in general. Specific to the beaches, the sand tends to be a little rough and grainy, and the water is filled with seaweed, which you can see a lot of it here in a moment washed up on the sand. If you do want to visit a beach, these are two public options that cost you nothing, although renting a chair and umbrella will cost you. The locals asked for $20 for renting a chair and umbrella, but I was able to negotiate that down. And as you can tell, the chairs and umbrellas, they've seen better days. They're pretty worn. Now, with both of these beaches, there are nearby beach bar areas if you want food or drink, but they're really nothing special. Okay, so back to the Amber Cove, a cruise port. If you decide to stay in port, as I mentioned before, there is a ton to do here. It's beautiful. This area is just steps right off of the pier, so you don't have to go far, and it's a pretty expansive area. On the day of my visit, there were a ton of chairs, and there was no issue getting one. Now, pool access and use of basic pool chairs is free, but umbrellas are not. Those are for rent for $22, which is a little outrageous. They also have a great splash zone specific to kids, and there are some water slides. That does come at a cost of $5. There are a lot of rental options. Kayaks starting at $20, pedal boats for $25, aquacycles starting at $40, solar catamarans starting at $40, and stand-up paddle boards and hydro bikes also starting at $20. You can also rent pool toys like noodles and lockers for a fee. And if you want Wi-Fi, that'll cost you $8 for the day. A popular attraction here is their zip line, which goes over the pools, and that'll cost you $28, but you get unlimited use. But whether you decide to get out and explore Puerto Plata or just stay at port and enjoy all the great free amenities, you're gonna have a great day.